BDS and MNM both have a decent shot at making it to top 3, but I think today's game will tell us what team will have the best chance in that. Now, for both these teams, I think they're coming into this game with a little bit of a different mindset. For BDS, they must be feeling optimistic. You know, last time around, Heroic 7-2, must be feeling good.
I think they'll be feeling that it's completely in their own hands, and to an extent it absolutely is. I thought their play day 1 against G2 wasn't the best, but yesterday back with a bang against Heroic. And sure, it was against Heroic that made a questionable change. It was playing with a coach and yada, yada, yada. But Shaiko and EFAC in particular would have been unstoppable yesterday against absolutely anybody. Now, I think BDS are probably one of the teams with the highest ceilings. They obviously are our reigning Gamers 8 champions. You know, they've won a major in the last year, just about or so, as well. The one thing that would concern me a little bit is Lems and Renshiro having quite slow stages. Renshiro's got the lowest KPI of anybody in the competition, 0.29 kills per round on average. You know, he times it out, that's basically 1 in 4.
It's not very often. It's such a high-pressure game for both of these teams as well, because basically whoever goes winning out of this one has so much less pressure next play. Like, it's just so much on the line with this game, and BDS, I think they stand a little bit of an advantage just because of the mental that they have and how much they've come back from the first game. They messed up a little bit with the bans as well, right? Against G2, it didn't look that great. So BDS, I think, are in for a good ride. I'm happy for them. I think they're doing good. They're going to be fine today.
Yeah, they're doing really good as of recent history. MNM started then decent, but did suffer a loss against Wolf last time around. So I feel for them, you know, there's some issues in the team going on right now as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've been looking at MNM, and both me and Fresh have said that MNM is one of the best teams in the world. And we said that when we came into this stage. We said the same thing about BDS, to be fair. And we still believe it. And both of these teams are on 3 points. Obviously, they've only played 2 games each, so it's not like they've been playing that much. But it's both of these teams come in with some problems, and MNM's problems today is that they're failing with the trading. They're also doing individual mistakes that are kind of like, you don't really know why they're making them. We've been saying on the desk, you and me both, that they're keeping on like dying on their own with nobody that's just around to do anything, and they need to slow down. They have these manpower advantages that they keep losing, and last game day against Wolves, they just went into quite a stable start, and then they lost the 3-1, and it looked like they were completely out of the server after that. It just they weren't there at all.
And that's the thing is, like, on the desk, obviously, we can see the symptoms, right? We see the symptoms of the disease, but we don't know what it is, because we see the symptoms of very low trade percent. So across the whole team, only 8% of their deaths are ever traded. Tyrant hasn't had a death traded yet in this, you know, in this stage. We see them lose X versus ones, and the mentality that associates with that. We see them be very, very good on their defenses, but then poor on their attacks. Now, these are all symptoms that they see as well. They understand, we understand, everybody understands it. But getting to the root cause of the problem for MNM, when they finally get to that root cause, unlock it, and this team unlocks its full potential, we genuinely will expect to see them at, you know, back end of the majors, top 4, top 2s, grand finals. But until they get there, they're going to continue hitting their heads against the wall.
I'm questioning if they will actually find that, because their coaching staff isn't bad.
No.
We're keeping on telling them here on broadcast. I mean, they don't really care what we say on broadcast because they're still the teams and we're just the analysts. So they understand their problems, and they're being told them over and over and over again. And it doesn't
Some point it's got to snap, though.
Yeah, that's what we would like to think. But how long have these problems existed for MNM as a team? And I think it's not just this stage, and it's not just last stage. It's been for quite a long time. Maybe they'll snap today. I don't think so, but
building that dream.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
You never know. It just has to happen at some point. I hope.
Yep.
But
I'm sharing the hopium with you for that one, indeed. And the numbers you mentioned are quite shocking as well. It's not really what we expect from MNM. You know, the team that we mentioned has the potential of being one of the best teams in Europe, if not in the entire world. But then for this matchup, which is a tough one against BDS, I'm very curious what kind of map we'll get on. Any predictions for that?
So I think for the maps, there's kind of 3 that I had in mind, and you know, that's 30% of the map pool. But I have kind of Kafe, Sky Club, because it's a very high preference map for these 2 teams. We've seen, I think MNM played BDS a couple of times on Club in recent history. They've played on Kafe a bunch before then. So they're probably the 2 that I would say I would expect most if we were going to come into it. Just because of just high preference for both teams.
Yeah, I don't really have a preference for either one of them. I don't sit there and look at the maps too much. But I don't think
you banned really badly when he was on G2.
That's why I brought in Titan so he could do it for me.
Cost first place when you... Was it picked Oregon? Instead of banned Oregon?
No, I misheard that one. That was actually my bad for listening. My hearing's gotten really bad. I'm getting old. No.
Well, you know what? Let's get into the maps so we can see what map it actually is going to be for this game. It does end up on being a Kafe, which you predicted, but then MNM on attack on the Kafe. Is that a bit worrying?
Yes, I'm just going to pull a stat here. MNM have played Kafe bunch in recent history. Stage 1 major, well, not into stage 2 yet, but 30% attack win rate, which they're going to be starting attack in a best of 1 on a map that they struggle to attack with. Fresh, if I had gotten to finish my point before you so rudely interrupted me, I was going to say that this matchup doesn't matter what map it comes to. It's just about the mental game still. It needs to be MNM to be on top, and they cannot allow themselves to slip. And it's just, honestly, map does not matter one bit, because if you go into your bad mentals and you allow that to take over, doesn't matter what you play. But
maybe for MNM, it's on a personal matter for this game as well, right? If you think back SI this year around, BDS knocked them out the tournament. So for MNM, winning this, I'm obviously not going to get revenge for SI because it already happened, but it also will matter on a personal level, I think, for them. I think it's best that we go and watch in the game what will actually happen. BDS versus MNM on Kafe with Fluke and Hap.
Well, hello there, and welcome here to the final game of the day. What will we get? I don't really know, but I hope it's intense, especially after the quick drumming we've just come off the back of.
Yes, we had 2 very quick games in a row.
We have.
So let's see if we're going to get a bit of a closer game on our hands, maybe.
It would be nice, because these are 2 great teams. These are 2 teams that you want to see popping off, and it's not that we've not had great teams before earlier on in the day and the ones that have sort of struggled, but it's just they haven't quite hit the mark.
All right. Bands first. Let's start with that. Now, there's multiple options, of course, when you go to Kafe, but yes, there's like 60-ish operators that can be banned. But the Dope to be removed first, of course, very annoying with all those phone calls. Yana as well. Might be a bit of a targeted ban. Moving grenades as well. There's not that many sets of them on the board currently.
Yeah.
Pretty usual ban. Final one, Solace, Azami, maybe Fenrir.
Get rid of Solace.
Azami.
Okay, also makes sense. Yeah, I mean, it was something that was highlighted. I think it was Kangaroo Kenny's interview earlier on today, where they talked about leaving the power defenders on the board. You have to remove some of them. Azami is definitely up there. Valkyrie, obviously up there as well. I quite like removing Solace on this because there's not many places to get drones in when you're sort of in the pre-phase. So you can have a Solace that's paying attention stop a lot of intel without having to get too far. But final game of the day, let us have a big one, I hope, because these are 2 teams that, if they are in the 2 different groups, they could both be sitting in that first spot based on how they could play.
They could definitely both be out there. And again, a very important game. Whoever loses this one, their day in their tournament is going to be so much harder, especially if it's going to be a regulation loss. You wouldn't be out, but it's not going to be great for you. Let's put it that way. Now, I know we've already talked about skills on other maps. Do we want to highlight this one, or do we let the people find them themselves? Oh, spawn peek attempts.
A Doc going for a spawn peek. We've just come off the back of a Consulate 1 pretty handily, and now having Doc spawn peeking? What year is this?
It was in 98.
99. No, I mean, it is, Doc with a 1.5 can sort of get you into those tricky situations there, and you'll see the growth of them. Renshiro, I maybe heard the comments of Renshiro's only getting, quarters of kills every round. So he's like, well, let's change that. Doesn't quite get it, though.
Now, as a minute has passed, of course, the first floor is the eventual site, and that means that there is a window right next to the bomb site. Quick hop-in could be enough to get the diffuser down, but you need to have all the support around it to, well, ensure that it will go down eventually. As Liquify gets the first kill with what was a jump out or a run out, Tyrant goes down, and they were unable to actually find a response to him right away.
Yeah, quick play, and that's also the sort of ability. I know I said how good they can be at controlling the intel on this map. They can also be great at knowing when to swing out on any of those big broad sides the building has. And just look at that. I love Solace on Kafe. I think it can really just read so much of anything put together because it's quite narrow. It's quite sort of tall and narrow across. You don't have to explore too much to have the full corner-to-corner read on the stories below and above you. And here, with that first kill under their belt and with a minute 20, MNM are trying to find a route into the building that's secure and safe, but none of it has really granted them any of that security.
Oh, good shot coming through from Solotov there. Takes Lem's head clean off. Sadly, it's not really what they need yet. They need to have themselves a way into the side as well, and that's what they're currently lacking now. Summons are being used to try and open up the hatch, but an impact grenade actually gets utilized to stop that from happening, so it's not going to be a point of ingress now, so they need to find something else. Slickafak is falling back down the staircase. He knows he's being hunted by MNM. He might actually be trying to go for a bit of an alternative approach back to the site.
Another ping round. Nafe's able to find Shaiko. They've put the balance into their favor here, holding onto the white stairs. They're looking for the swing, and Bride just sees the tip of the gun, but that does not take damage the same way a player's face can. They're 20 seconds, though, and with them stuck there between the two stories, the execute needs to start coming, and it is on the far opposite side. Now, there is the call underneath. They're going to go for the impact play here, but they just can't get the shot on the angle. And it's a little bit of a missed moment. Solotov and Users get one apiece, and that just leaves Ifak alone with a long route through. A bit of a missed idea on just what they can get locked in. And MNM, great response from losing that early body.
Yeah, it's definitely kept it in there and took it calm nicely. Worked down from the top floor all the way down to where they needed to be to get that plan down. Verticality working in their favor as well. You saw that's how they managed to retrade that first initial kill and put themselves up to 4-4. So a bit of a blow for BDS after starting it off like that, but it was just a run-out kill they had. Nothing else was put on the board afterwards, so that aggression worked out. But it's not something you can keep relying on. I hear a Sprabuni in my ear, so I assume... There we go.
There it is.
I have some stats again.
All right, some Sprabuni stats here. Now, MNM's chance of getting first, yeah, it's pretty low, but they don't really need that as their dedication to get themselves all the way. The top three, and they can fight their way through. At the same time, BDS, they have a slightly better chance, but you have to remember that in their group, you know, they've got the Titans of Wolves that have secured 3 clean wins. Anything less than that, and the fact that they've both suffered a loss has instantly made that first place a pipe dream.
Now, if this game goes to 14 rounds or 15 rounds, Wolves will be automatically confirmed first seed as well. That wasn't in the stats, but that is the case. You can trust me on that. So as soon as this goes to overtime, Wolves are confirmed first seed of the group. They still have a game to play at that point, so that's definitely an achievement.
It's great. You just hope that they carry the momentum on towards the tournament. They've had great splits before. It's still not over. The team is looking fantastic. But so are both of these two teams. And that's that sort of worry for anyone, you know, that's watching from the other side of this. Obviously, outside of one team in this group, really, there's 4 great contenders, but only 3 seeks. So Alems, he's going to see if he can try and hold on to this pixel position for as long as possible. Gets the kill onto Solotov. The shield survives, burns the disc, but this Tyrant can get this grenade bounce. They're sort of hoping somebody tries to go for the kill here.
Think to be tossed in. Where does it go, though? Is the big question. Eventually, we'll find nothing. Flashbangs come through, and Shiro will find a kill into Nafe, and they know someone's still being around in the window. The grenade pops in the right moment. Finds Renshiro, but Alem still around there, still able to reply if he goes for the repel in. Tyrant thinking about it, misses the opportunity of Alem's just sprinting by.
I mean, it's a tricky one to predict there. It's an awkward repel to get on as well, because you don't always expect it to be a sort of confrontation window. You're trying to put pressure, even more so when you are a body down, because at that point you're expecting, obviously, the movement to be forced by someone else. You've got to then force the movement. It's not easiest catch, but this might be. Lems is waiting. And the Nook just saved their own life by walking into that prox.
Decided against pushing up the staircase there, and it could have been the life indeed. Likafacto waiting for him to push up on that staircase, actually looking back at the moment. And that was about to show. It's now going to look to see if he can go for a retake over the top. Shaiko will find Tyrant, so the Nook still will be taken care of. MNM only with 2 players left, both up on the top floor. As soon as they start opening up, a shotgun blast will follow by the side of Brede, but not enough to get the kill onto users. Just a little bit quicker on the trigger out there.
And let's gonna see if he can get a plant round just tucked on the corner. They have the vertical cover, but actually pulls off because he thought the fight was coming. It was, as was the one against users. BDS bounce back from the first round loss to a second round return. We are once again squared up.
So we want to see. We want to see this game just keep on trading these rounds. Don't want this to be another blowout like we've already had to today, especially with what's at stake for these teams. So whoever is the one that takes a full-fledged loss, well, said it before, they'll be having a very hard time to get themselves back within that top 3. Because both are currently on 3 points. Then above them is G2 with 5 and Wolves with 6. G2 will face MNM. So let's say MNM, you know, they lose this in overtime. They get 4 points. Then they need a full win against G2 if they want to be taking it home. So they don't even have the overtime luxury at that moment. So that's kind of the stuff that's at stake. And BDS is coming up against Wolves. Now, that's always a game that has historically favored BDS. But the Wolves are currently on a completely different kind of rhythm that I'm not even sure that historical advantage that BDS has against them will work.
Kafe holding on to see if they can try and find some spawn peak P90 success, but MNM they're already trying to knock on the door underneath. We're to the top floor. You expect to start at the top. It's the slow, steady creep from underneath on the Nook. Likafacto gets a little bit of damage done. Just gets out of there. He's able to escape. He can sort of sit with a bit of confidence. Solosov, though, he's a bit of noise. Shaiko's watching up on the hatch.
Nothing being given as of yet. Some good drones out here from MNM are giving away some information, but Shaiko on the Solace is seeing them shoot on and off, knowing that they're being spotted. Solotov will find Likafacto. Not quite sure if that was through the floor.
I mean, Likafacto was last seen running around on the far end of White, so I think it might have been on White side, maybe around Zulu.
Could be the case. Likely. Oh, that's going to be Shaiko with an impact. And, well, that's what happens when you drone. You're going to be spotted. They're going to see where the phone is, and they get a reply on the back of it. Solotov now going up for the hunter, hoping to find Shaiko before he does more damage. As he falls back at Shaiko, actually looking to go for a bit of a swing. MNM, they also know they cannot really afford to give Shaiko these 1v1s. He's an incredible player that will be taking them very happily. As he sees these drones come through, he also knows that there's no one close to him. These drones are just trying to get the information for the execute eventually.
A minute on, 4 versus 4. They've lost their grenades. The sledge, it's not as impactful in terms of smashing across the softs at the top here, but they wait and the call comes together. You can see Solotov gets the down. The catch comes through on one of the bolts, but they're able to finish off the breakdancing player, even though they were hopped up, doing everything right.
Now, MNM have that 1-man advantage they need to leverage out here. Shaiko, you get so close to finding a kill. If only you pulled the trigger. Grenades coming over, but I believe it might have been caught. Shaiko will find Nafe, so brings it back to a 3-on-3. BDS still in a very good position out here as Brede will find Nello. Alems is in a bit of a gunfight himself as well near the planks area, but they are pushing through to the back of his side, and Brede holding tight from the freezer, knows there's someone on the opposite side of things, but only 9 seconds. There's no reason to swing for BDS, and as they do it, it's only left to Shaiko and LMs. Solid falls, and BDS will find themselves a second round.
I mean, you could see the 2 bulletproofs there. There's the one that was on the back wall. There was the one on the other side of White Corridor. They had all of the motions of those 2 remaining MNM players just watched. They knew exactly which way they were going. They knew exactly when they needed to put the pressure on, when they could pull back. And they knew that there was only 15 seconds left. They did not have to put themselves in a do or die situation. If someone is swinging in a 1 versus 2 with the deagle out, that is last chance saloon. That is a hope and a prayer.
All right, as BDS, they've got themselves on the lead, and this is kind of a thing that, I mean, we haven't seen it for a while because European League has been gone for a while. So we're now in our 2nd week. But whenever BDS was playing on attack on Kafe, especially on that top floor, sometimes you see them try and go for a take and everything just goes kind of wrong. They cannot get the utility out of the way. They still win the round because they pull that trigger, they just start running through and they gun themselves through their problems. So that's also something you have to keep in mind. Like, that's something BDS is very capable of. So MNM, they really need to be making sure they get themselves 3 rounds here on this half. Otherwise, well, BDS, they might be having themselves in a pretty good position for that second half.
We go down to the 4th site. We're getting the full taste. And BDS are often a team that loves to fully explore a map and stretch their legs. And here on Kitchen, then the Echo versus the Monty is a sort of classic mano-a-mano, especially when it's in the hands of Brede.
Now, quick opening onto the freezer is going to be upping the pressure just a little bit on the side of... Never mind. Did they just get shot off? Yeah, I believe Leak Effect just ran down the staircase, shot them off, and went back to where he's going. So that Selma didn't actually pop. That wall is still going to remain closed. No extra pressure to come through.
Yeah,
The Bravo Drones going to be looking to hack anything, but also gaining information. Nello looking to check if it's safe for this Selma to actually pop on, because the previous one just got assassinated.
Yeah, this one will stay. I mean, they look like they wanted to swing for the second part of it. They might have just been pulling out. They still have a presence above. They're ready to drop on the hatch. I love that. They sort of just hands off the site itself. They're giving it a bit of a stretch. Shaiko gets the take onto Nafe there. Removes the Kappa Tower, removes the covers of the smoke. When you're looking to try and maybe play the plant alongside the shield itself, it makes things a bit awkward. Nello gonna have to have a hop entrance here, and there it's just a swinger and Shiro. They remove Solotov here, and MNM wanted to not fully ignore the verticality, but play that Monty and those smokes against it, and they've just lost players because of it. There, Shaiko holding on. Their Echo drone had the full read, the coverage of whatever MNM is doing here. BDS know about it.
Echo drone is trying to distract the Monty a little bit. I believe he might have actually gotten it. He's just coming out here for the support as they know of Shaiko's position in code. Gonna try and go for the pre-fire. Second stun will come through, and that means they need to fall back. In the meantime, support from the staircase as well. Renshiro trying to help just a little bit of Shaiko. Might be losing his life, but Leak Effect coming in from the back, and a flawless round for BDS as they were hyper-focused on finding a way to take out Shaiko. The rest of BDS just looped themselves quietly around them to shut them down.
It was so well played there from BDS. They knew everything. They knew everything that was coming at them. They had all the intel, all the cameras and ideas. They just had the read. And as I said, you could sort of see what MNM wanted to do there. Maybe they read that there were those 3 players above and said, well, let's just see if we can try and punch into sight. Let's see if we can try and get that little pocket of control. They didn't quite have the snappiness to get it. They didn't quite have the sort of motion in with the first Selma being sniped out, with things starting to become limited, and with there being no clear route through. Unfortunately, even with the Monty and losing the smokes, they just did not have enough to go for that plan A.
Okay, on we go. BDS. First round, they stumbled. Second, third, and fourth, they have been quite confident in their plays around the map. And that's when it gets dangerous. When they're being given the freedom to roam around, to be where they want to be, to just strike you down as you try and execute on a plan. Each and every single one of these players are absolute gunners. There's no two ways about it. Like, all of them will be able to, you know, completely decimate your team on a good day. There's League Effect, Shaiko in particular, two main gunners of that team. We really cannot afford them any freedom.
I mean, Shaiko's 9-1.
Yeah, I mean, that's what kind of tells it, right?
It's like we haven't mentioned it yet because it's as weird as it is to say, been a subtle 9-1. But he has just been a constant terror on this map, let's be real. Over 4 rounds, that many kills. Dolotov, in the meantime, he's trying to do his own reign as ever. 7-3. Able to take care of Alems. Removes cover of the 1.5. The ability to see through smokes that aren't actually there, but at least the flashes might be able to get some damage done. EFAC wants the fight here. With the pressure on the window behind him, you assume a grenade might be following soon. There's the pull of the pin. Sees the player as well, and he probably wishes he went with the gun. They get Renshiro. And I'm assuming that was on Pixel. I'm not entirely sure, but Shaiko finds Solotov as the swing back round, gets dropped down to some safety. That's over the top of EFAC. They're dancing, and the Tyrant gets the kill.
Of course, the side is actually still a floor down. MNM, they do have a man advantage, and Shaiko is very low on HP. BDS still being around as the Clutch King he is be proving quite a trouble. Drones looking to see if anybody's around in pillars. Doesn't seem to be the case, so that might influence the eventual ID in attack and approach that MNM is going to go for. It's just going to be a default plant right behind the cabinet, especially with the spot they now have on Shaiko. They know where he is. Drone gets taken down, but he rotates instantly afterwards. Might be actually going to the brown stairs to make sure they have a bit of cover for the pillars.
Tyrant and themselves the angle, hoping to force the player to get some motion on the back of it, but nobody falls for the bait. It's a 3 versus 2, but Becker's still on the board. Who knows what's going to happen? And you got Brede, who is famed for clutches in 40 seconds. They're angling themselves up to try and get the plant in on the door. They've got the vertical control. There's the impact. But here's the impact. Shaiko. Has he seen the man above? Do they know Shaiko's below? Oh, he doesn't quite get the angle. Saved on one. It's down to Brede. Wins the first fight. Goes to the shotgun. Doesn't make the connection. Nello locks it in. They find their second round.
Brede, convinced the plant was still happening, swapped over to a shotgun. He had the opportunity to just slow it down a little bit more out there, but well played in the end by MNM, able to still bring it across the finish line. Into a second round. Onto the last of this half already. It's been going quite quick, even though that we do have a bit more of an even game compared to the last two we had. And thus we're headed back towards the top floor as BDS will be approaching on that defense one more time, unless we do go to overtime. Now let's see if they have that opportunity to not lose 2 players that early on without any trading.
Will we get that 3-3 half? Will we get this tooth and nail, this fight for every round game that we kind of want out of this? Still good reactivity. You can see MNM, they're piecing things together, but bit of a back and forth here.
5 seconds to insertion.
And there's still those little moments where it looks like BDS is slipping into some safety. BDS are finding routes out.
How is MNM going to be approaching this one? Shaiko down below. Could be very problematic. Some 10 kills. Just waiting in wedding. Has the opportunity, of course, to quickly check on his gadget. See if anybody's droning, if there's any utility being placed down, just to gain information. But for now, staying put. Now that Claymore will be giving away something. At least tell a story. Like, oh, they've been out on the balcony. Might be out on a rappel now. It's going to be confirmed by LMs. Like, huh? Windows being opened up. They're definitely repelling. And Shaiko is looking to go for a potential jump. Oh, that's going to open up. Run. Don't try and stay around there.
Solus in full regard of everything coming towards them. Alems pulls back, going for a slightly different bout of pressure here, burning out the route and swinging into not quite get caught out, but Tyrant knows that it's only really a matter of time before a BDS gun finds them. There's also the watch on the hatch as well. Quite sure which BDS player it is. EFAC is ready and hoping the drop comes round. We've seen Shaiko remove a lot of drones from the arsenal, so they're having to just keep sending out more and more and more. That one will catch him. Force him off on a bit of a roam, but trying to chase the Ash. Oh! 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 Oh!
A quick peek there is nothing he could do out there. It's just removed from the map. That's just a player that has an idea on where you are and acts upon it. So the best start for MNM in his final round on the attack. They have 2 rounds. They would prefer to have a bit more. Solazov finds himself a cigar. Oh, gets taken down as well. It's actually a trait kill between the two as he finds a Lems in the meantime. Opens up the opportunity, though, to try and take something more aggressively into Piano, unless it got retaken quickly by a BDS player, which it did.
At this point, MNM, they've still not entirely fallen themselves out of a round. They have an ability to find a pocket and get a plant down in it. The longer the time ticks, the more dangerous it's going to get. Precious and burn down the grenade with the hope that someone is close by, but Shaiko is far away, watching and waiting for a drop that actually comes towards the far end. The X-Kairos starts to make that wall a bit awkward. Suddenly the reveal of a player there means they can't quite react with maybe the impact that they wanted, but Shaiko is sort of desperate for the fight itself. The 2 on one far end, it's slightly open, so they don't have a safe plant here. They need to know where Shaiko is, and they find it. Usus gets that take, but with the crossfire coming across, they're not able to get anything solid. The kit's on the far end. Nafe is all that's left in the 2 versus 1. Cannot swing in. BDS get the 4-2 half.
Decent half coming out there from BDS. Just a couple of moments of weakness, but overall they've looked really secure in the driver's seat out there. Now, of course, the site swap's coming on. That means that the sites will be changing. BDS will now be attacking. And that means they now need to show their capability they have shown in the past is also applicable now. With the new operators to be out there that just change up the meta slightly. Not that we've seen Fenrir really that much here on Kafe. So it might actually just play out more like it usually would.
MNM, they have some growth here. They have a good map to play with. It's a map that can work well for defenders. There's a good selection for them to run and try and get some pieces of control. It's fun to see that Bar is often not the first pick now. And it hasn't been for a little bit of time, but people love to play that stretch on the top floor. They love to sort of lengthen the game out and say, look, we're not just going to give you one floor to fight on. Take us everywhere. Take us around the town.
I mean, that's the thing now, right? Like, if you go towards those first floors, you still need to clear out that top floor. That means that defenders, you know, you can still put all that utility up there. You can still play it quite heavily, as long as you have that verticality properly controlled.
And from that sort of point onwards as well, you're looking at them trying to cut that off. BDS have to get roots against what MNM want to do, and whether that's the pressure onto the back of White, whether that's seeing if you can get the loose thread on a player before they drop down.
Shaka doesn't get very far with his drone. Hatches are being opened up though, so we might actually see him drop very soon to see if he can elevate the pressure a little bit up top. Claymores are there in plenty for him for BDS, so they don't really have to worry about burnouts too much. You might lose one, but instantly after the explosion should follow. Candelas are coming, grenades are in as well, as Renshiro gets his head removed, but he trades him out with the grenade, and all these repels are kind of going wrong on the side of BDS.
I mean, they weren't quite able to react on the back of it. They're doing just enough to keep the balance in, but at the same time, you think of what they threw there and how clean it could have been in MNM. They just sort of dug themselves in, took a couple of the fights. Usus sit back into their favor. Shaiko wants to get some revenge here, but how he found that, I don't know. He's looking for one more inside the side, and he gets it. Shaiko 13-3, waiting for the last player to drop. Bride covers up the cover, and there's Shaiko 14-4.
Just an average Shaiko round, if you ask me. He just walks in, like, quickly flicks out to the top. I'm not sure if that was a drone call out or if he saw like 1 or 2 pixels change color, which instantly triggered that response in him. And that was a route for BDS that kind of went the wrong way. I mean, 2 repels got punished for it. The grenade managed to get a trade. And the remaining team, they just went horizontal, managed to find that success in the back of Shaiko. But otherwise, that would have been an MNM route. Let's see. Oh, he set a gun out there. Instantly responds. So that's the difference between hyper-focusing on your reticle or also, you know, having your surrounding view still being processed properly. Again, he's one of those like generational players that you see. He's like one of the legends of the scene.
Yeah, it's
Those rounds are a reason for it.
it's just fun to watch, and I mean, it's also terrifying to play against.
Oh,
It's
I was
one of
gonna say
those
very frustrating.
yeah, because it's not that MNM have been so far out of the water, but it's when you have any player popping off to a level where they're what 14-3.
Let's say you can win the round strategically, but then Shaiko, basically.
Shaiko, basically.
Yeah,
The Shaiko story.
there's nothing more to say about it.
5-2 BDS. They are wanting to chase their French compatriots towards the top of the table here and make sure that this Group B stands for
Best.
best, but in French.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, that means good. Don't know if that means
Le best.
the best, yes. Very accurate. There's
Thank you.
no
Thank you.
pointers.
They're gonna see if, and you know, it's been a powerful performance from them, but it's been led by that gun game. MNM, they've been cautious on the approach because they're trying to work out the holes that BDS are putting forward. They just, on their attacks, weren't able to get them pieced together, and there they had a grasp on the attack BDS wanted to do on their first defense, but then Shaiko does that, and you're just sort of there like, oh, okay.
Oh, that's it. There's nothing more you can do at that point. Like, sometimes you just die, and it's not even your fault, right? It's like the person that was on the opposite side of you just had an amazing shot and an ID for it. There's no way you can respond to it. And if you put yourself in positions where that won't happen, then you'll still be demolished because you are in positions where you cannot challenge. Now, that's a good spot coming through. And that's an instant reply, I believe, coming out as well as Tyrant finds Shaiko with that shotgun. That's one less player to worry about, a big player to no longer have to worry about. As they know Navy's all the way on the top. What's BDS going to do about it? Well, it seems like just holding the hatch for now.
They've got the pings on the player touch round, and Alems finds their entire support structure and removes them. So Tyrant then gets picked up right after. It's such a sudden trade round. Uses double dips. Wants to see if he can find some success on the back of it with Nafe getting one of his own, and then suddenly, just as quickly as BDS started to steal that round, it's pulled right back, and that's what I mean by MNM. They're still fighting in. It's not that they're being blown aside. Shaiko is dead. They have a hope. But there is still two players.
There's an opportunity. Users takes down both, though. It's going to be BDS that lose that round. MNM bring it back just slightly. Still a lot of work to do for them, though. But that round was a lot better than what we have seen in terms of the trading game, because that was actually on point here. They were trying to take fights from multiple directions. Player dies in VIP, instantly someone swinging from wedding. That's what we need to see more of. Cannot just allow BDS to get away with these free kills without any trades to come through.
They're still in. They're still in, and they're keeping it off of map point. Can they get the catch up here? They've got to keep rotating around. They'll be on sites that will be slightly more uncomfortable.
Right. Uncomfortable. Well, it's definitely going to be making a difference in the end. Being all the way up top. It's just less ground that needs to be taken by BDS. That's always that big worry. It's, of course, less ground you need to focus on as a team as well. But this mirror window, I believe they might be opening up the entire wall out there to provide one long line of sight to make Piano very difficult to play in.
Oh, I love this one.
I love it as well. And it just opens up these very long angles that it's just difficult to deal with. We'll most likely see, though, as someone having to go up on a rappel on the opposite side of that window just to make sure that the mirror stays in place.
Can BDS make a clean entrance? Even though they've been able to claim one of these rounds, one of them wasn't as clean really on the sort of get-go. One of them they bit back and then it was knocked back. They can't seem to just get a kill and then sit comfortably on it. There's always a threat. Missed throwing grenade there, and he's lucky that wasn't cooked a little bit more, because that could have been a bit of a tragedy. BDS goes with the blinds.
Says, look, there was no teammate standing underneath there either, because that would have been even more unfortunate. Having to bounce back and then the grenade hitting your teammate. There's 2 minutes still left on the clock. BDS now have a bit of an idea of how this hold is going to be shaping up. Those mirror windows are located there, and this Kafe is getting himself in below. He's going to be looking through the hatch, hoping to hear something, but there's no one there. Not as of yet, at least.
I like how Shaiko was just like, is that ours? Is that no? Yep. No, it's Solotov's. Gotta remove it. Solotov themselves, not too far away. There's the Ash that isn't going to go their way for now. Again, they're looking for maybe a bit of cleanliness towards their take. Their first fight here. Nath wants to loose that C4 out the window. They're almost waiting for this. The pull on the grenade pin. It's pressured. To Candela even, not the grenade. The Ying has taken up the mantle of this position instead. The C4 is just going to go there and flies out to the opposite side. Grenade has started to roll its way in from Skylight instead.
Smoke grenade to be used as well to get over the Candelas right now. They're hoping to take the controller. Shaiko will find one on Nath as well, but Nello finds a response. Kafe now in a key position as he tries to rotate back up. There's 2 players out there. Will he strike one on the back? Yes, he does. Does he know about the second, though? Being present near the 90 area. Yuz is still in a good position to play in from below. Not sure if he has a pre-placed C4. He's waiting to detonate, or he's looking to play it vertically from down below, but either way, he's a threat they need to deal with. A rotation coming up, double from the white stairs. Definitely seems like BDS is not ready to capitalize on that.
Wrong side of the solid for Nello. He's able to keep himself standing and the drone rolls through, and now he's going to move elsewhere, but there's no more grenades to try and hit them from underneath. BDS, what remains of them, is going to have to start trying to make that push turn to shove here. Kafe's going to get his way up towards New Balk window and is caught out by Nello, who's paying keen attention. Cannot get the drop into the Skylight. The fight goes over to the back. It's BDS, though, that suddenly gets the take. Users puts them into the 1 versus 1. 10 seconds. BDS knows where the player is, though, and BDS, they push themselves to guaranteed points. Can they take all 3?
As I said, Emmy, during the start of this game, if they are attacking the top floor, it doesn't matter if they're losing it strategically. They can just pull the trigger and still win it somehow. I mean, they didn't really deal with piano at all. They just went for a Skylight and a push up the staircase and a repellent. That's all they had. Barely any control. Just vibes pushing in there. Worked out for them. Now they're on match point. MNM for the timeout now. 30 seconds left of the 45. Getting a speech of what needs to improve if they want to be bringing this back towards overtime and take a point away from this. Again, if they fail, it's going to be looking really bad for them because we stuck with 3 points. Next up will be G2 on 5, who is going to be their actual opponents on the last play day of the group stages. So I mean, need to get a full-fledged victory. It stays in their hand that way, but
it does, and it makes that game very spicy.
It does,
because at that point it's BDS and Wolves fighting for that sort of position near the top of the board. That I don't know if it depends on the result here, where they can get it based on the round differential. But it would leave G2 and MNM brawling directly out for that third place, that extra spot.
Which of course is always going to be an amazing game if something like that happens. Just 2 teams fighting for that final spot on the final play day. Those are very intense games. Games where nothing can go wrong, but often everything does go wrong at the same time. So MNM, you've just hit your timeout. You know that you're gonna be defending that first floor, or second floor rather, because that's how Kafe works. Doesn't have a basement, but 3 floors.
I want to see what EFAT's going to do, because I have a theory Because there's that hatch, isn't there? And you have that kit, and you can see the pings coming out towards the bottom of white. So that hatch that leads into the A site. Now, it's not as easy as it used to be, because often teams would reinforce that side and not the other and keep the control of the stairs. They have the route through, so you have to force them off that location. But that is where EFAC is going. They want smoke coverage from the Capitao bolts. BDS sometimes have a habit of doing this. If when an opposing team takes a timeout, they hit them with a pocket play. They hit them with something fast and aggressive, because nothing shakes up a team more than entirely shaking up how you've played before the timeout. It's down to MNM. That reactivity, I've complimented them on time and time again throughout this series, for them to react to this play. As we stare down the barrel, Usus gets the first. EFAC is crouched and ready to go. The smokes are up, the player's up as well. The fire's there, and he's looking for a place to plant. He's found it. The C4 is that reaction. That's what MNM needed to do. The 4 versus 3, but they've at least stopped that diffuser getting locked.
It's now down on the ground as well and needs to be recovered, and that gives BDS a clear objective to go for. So something way more defendable for the side of MNM. Need to be making sure they're not tunnel visioning on it now. They need to make sure that they, well, do not step into these lines of sight. They're being held as Nave almost loses his life. Aaron Shearer being in the upside down rappel. Rene gets tossed in after to look to confirm, but fails to do so. BDS now poking, trying to figure out where an option presents itself. See if they can utilize that. LM's unaware of the fact that Nave was down the staircase, takes him down. The pocket play seemingly totally failing on the side of BDS out here. At least they tried. It's something to say about it, but that C4, that was the eventual well, killer of that plan.
In and out before you can even really blink. 3 days trying to drive their way up with the Candelas, but oh, they take out Nello. They take a lot of damage from the follow-up swing there from Tyrant. They know exactly where the player is. Now really hiding their intentions here, and with 40 seconds left, what else can you do? You've got to push up for the fight. Tyrant is holding an angle you didn't expect. MNM take the timeout and take their round on the back of it. 6-4. The distance is only 2.
It's a good response that they had upon the pocket play that BDS tried to go for. I mean, it already started with Shaco being taken out with a shotgun again. Basically removes a very big gunner from the board. And if then smoke grenades from the Capitao come through, Candela start rolling in, and you hear the hatch break, you know something's up. You know something is trying to be attempted right there. So just toss that C4 in the middle of the room and hope for the best, and definitely worked out well there.
No, entirely. And obviously the kill came through onto Shaiko on the bottom of white stairs as well from the same player. It tossed the C4. They got that and then went, okay, we know what's happening here. We can play against it. I asked the question and complimented it throughout this game as well. They're just snappy to what's being put against them. Losing out gunfights, sometimes that just happens. That is how people play the game on the day. You look at Usus and Solotov and, you know, 20 between the pair of them, they're still putting the damage in. But it's just one of those balances that if it starts tipped out of your favor, this is where you get to. You get to that sort of cling on, take a round at a time.
And that's it. You cannot really like think ahead too much now as MNM. You just need to take every round you can. Bring them home one by one. BDS, they can just keep hammering down upon that side to see if they can find success, can find weakness in the armor of MNM. So getting themselves ready. All they would need, BDS, is just that simple opening kill. Now, they've been lacking that for the last 2-3 rounds. Solos have now taken a lot of damage, but he's not willing to give up the fight just yet. Was hoping to lean back into Likafek out there.
Pops over the top, backed by the E1D. Bride is ready to react with a Gon 6. Not quite needed, as Zafir can get rid of the shield, and Tyrant hoped that there was a head on the pier round. Remember, the pressure came from the back of them last time, and Shiro's just going to hold the upside down rappel. The drone rolls through, and the smoke will maybe buy them some extra safety, but at this point, it's just time. And Shiro is still holding steady. There's no route out here for Tyrant without it being a fight. Another E1D. He wants them to come in close. The pings are constant. He knows that they're coming. The pressure's there. But it's look how many BDS players are being pulled into this. 4 of them on this single engagement.
Yes, but the one player behind the bar is making sure that Tyrant is safe. Solotov being out here means they cannot jump into that window. The grenade, though, deals a lot of damage to Tyrant. Solotov will fight Ranshiro, so the opening kill again goes to the way of MNM. Link Effect now finds himself in close, but Tyrant, just prone, knows how low he is on his HP, doesn't want to be taking any straight-on fight right here, so they need to come towards them. BDS need to go for a pre-fire. He's prone. Will they get him? No, the shotgun will find one, not the second. However, Brede gets that kill eventually.
Solotov just arrives in this position a little late, but he's able to at least get the revenge. 4 versus 2, but you really have to give credit to Tyrant for how he's held the round, and suddenly it's 2 versus 2. And whilst I'm complimenting it, the work has been undone. Nello is all that's left. The Clash holding on. As I said, how do you stop a player on their day? Shaiko screaming into sight to get 2 kills. I mean, at that point, it is so difficult. BDS pushed themselves over the line at the end. MNM were close and they put in a huge performance in a fight, but it was a hell of a game and a team they're up against.
I have to say, in that last round, Shaiko was very close to be zapped to death by the Clash as well. That's why he was running. That's why he was hiding with 17 kills to lock up that game, and an amazing performance from him and the rest of BDS. Well, on MNM, they gave it their best, but just not good enough now, and that means that their game against G2 is going to be a straight shootout for who will be making it to playoffs.
And that is, for me as a neutral viewer, a very exciting prospect. But before any of that, let's throw it to a break and come back to our desk to have a last conversation.
Have you ever wondered how our professional players go pro? Or what happens between our regionals and majors? During the Tier 1 off-season, our Tier 2 scene kicks off with 5 separate regions hosting their own T2 competitions that have the opportunity for anyone and everyone to enter. Now let's get started and welcome you to the Tier 2 ecosystem of Rainbow Six Siege. There are several regional events around the world, which are the Japan Invitational, Liga Start for Latin America, the North Regional Rumble, and R6 Central Combine from Europe, and Element 1 for North America. Let's start with the Central Combine. 2 Tier 1 qualifying teams are sent straight to the playoffs, whilst there are 4 national spots composed of teams from the Legacy National Competitions and 2 EU squads made from teams that are at least 3/5 from Central Europe. These 6 teams go straight to Phase 2. There are then 18 more spaces to be filled by open qualifiers, which means this is your chance to get involved. During Phase 2, our 4 national teams, 2 Central European teams, and 18 qualifying teams will be divided into divisions to play against each other based on a point system, with the lowest 2 teams of each division being eliminated. Our remaining 12 teams will be grouped into 3 conferences, competing for their spot in the playoffs. Each team will play every team in the other 2 conferences for points, with the highest scoring 6 teams moving forward to Phase 4. Phase 4 is our playoff bracket, where our top 6 teams from qualifiers and our 2 Tier 1 teams face off in a best-of-3 bracket. At this stage, everyone gets a share of the €40,000 prize pool, where the winning team will take home up to €15,000. These events aren't just about the money though. Our Tier 2 events give you the platform to showcase your talent to the world. The matches are live streamed on our official channels with the best upcoming analysts and casters that BR6 has to offer. Win here and your Rainbow Six life could change forever. Do you have what it takes to step up and be the next big name in Rainbow Six? Prove it.
Doki 4 kills. Give them all! That's going to be G2 moving on.
Pretty sure that was pre-placed on the hatch as well. It's the second time they got away with this half as well. It's really good stuff coming out of Secret. Groovy's there.
Nella holds strong on top of that one, drops into it, stops the counter defuse to give the round over to MNM. The close game ended in quite handily a fashion for the Wolves.
Need to rotate. They took the stock hatch, they took the rotate round onto Banana, and they had the site control. Heroic!
Joystick denies the play. Psycho needs to throw it down, but he won't be able to do so. VP, close it down.
He will not even make it back to his feet before Deepek cuts him down.
BDS lock down the series. They will qualify through.
Hungry, he's hopping. He's got to sprint round for the final player. Can he make it? Yes, he can!
BDS confirms himself in the top 3 and still have a chance of making it to the major through the Siders by a 7-4 victory over MNM. And I think in general, it's just been really good teamwork from BDS.
I mean, they played as a team. That's literally the difference between the two teams we just saw playing. BDS, they had these countdowns, 3-1, go together and at least attempt to make something work as a group, you know. MNM lacked pretty much all of that. And it really shows. They had one more thing in BDS, though, that kind of stands out. Wouldn't you say, Fresh?
Yeah, it was definitely run shit. No, I'm joking. Shaco going 17-6. I mean, that it's literally the difference is there was obviously the team play. We saw, you know, the Ying executes the Amaru, the 3-2-1s to Ying when it was Breedate to top white. So there was walk-up white says. Sometimes it didn't work out, but at least there was intent for the team play and the coordination and a clear plan. And then when you've got a guy on the back of that can just walk in and get 3-4 frags and plays the FPS side of this game so brilliantly, you're always going to have success. Now, I actually implore anybody that's watching that wants to be one of the best FPS gamers or Rainbow Six gamers, you know, whatever, go and download the game files and watch Shaiko's POV. Watch the pro games from his POV because he pre-aims every single common angle. It looks like he's, you know, in professional games, it looks like he's playing Terrorist Hunt at times, pre-aiming where he expects people to be, and he just clicks. And he makes it look so easy. But watch his movement, watch where he aims, watch exactly how he plays, because he is, I think, by far and away the best fragger in potentially even the world. Yeah, maybe even through history. You never know. Like, he's been just so consistently on the numbers. Now I just want to see him win maybe an invitational or a few more majors, and we'll cement him at the top. But if we just look at MNM back for a second at them, if we look just overall how they're playing, it just seems like they're going by these lurking and one-on-one plays that just, it's like all 5 players needs to make the hero play. And it doesn't make any logical sense of why they're doing so, because they have good players. They should be able to team play correctly. But again, what do we see in the absolute last round? They do exactly what we always say that MNM does. They're 4-on-2 and decided instead of sitting back, relaxing, we have a clash, they peek. And well, it's not that they actively look for the engagement, but they don't let go of these angles that are super aggressive, that nobody can trade them on, and nobody can really support them. If we have the guy, I don't even know who it was, but someone's playing in coat, 2 steps to the left, the guy can't shoot you, he has to jump through the window, and you can have teammates covering your hallway, so nobody can come at you except through that door. But we're not making those decisions in MNM because we think we're the best team in the world. I think that you're one of them when you fix these things. And I think that's what's disappointing as well, because 4v2 with a clash, you should never lose. Nope. And I think the problem with it is for them that's just going to get chalked down to, oh, MNM have thrown a classic. They've thrown a 4v2, haha, MNM. Yep. And it kind of gets taken as a bit of a joke, and then they'll go and do it again next week. And it never seems to be the issue getting fixed. And, it's cost them again today. That round, if they'd have got it, they'd have been right back into the game and could have started building on the Kafe defense. And in the pre-game, we said, no. What if today is the day they learn? It wasn't. It just wasn't. Yep. And I don't think it will come anytime soon unless they look talented. Yeah, they just need to look themselves in the mirror and take the self-responsibility for it, because that's literally as easy as it is. But it seems like maybe because their core has been together for such a long time, these issues might not be held accountable by their other teammates. I don't know where this issue stems from. You guys know this problem, MNM, and I'm talking directly to you. You know them, your staff know them, everybody on this planet knows them. You just fix them. We heard in interviews, right? Even their support staff, they acknowledge these issues. They acknowledge, the MNM Classic, as they call it. You gotta keep it up for the memes sometimes. But it needs to stop if you want to be that best team in the world. If you want to contend at majors, if you want to, contend for a major win as well. These 4-2 throws that they're doing and these people not being traded out, that has to stop. Oh, it has to. And it shouldn't be the, you can make it into a meme and maybe the social people can make it into a meme. But the team and the players certainly shouldn't be. Because it's a very serious issue that they should be trying to tackle head on. The fact it just keeps reoccurring for me is what's disappointing. Because MNM, had they have had team play, had they have not thrown 4v2s, they were right in this game, and maybe the only differential, the only very slight differential, was Shaiko going absolutely crazy.
Indeed, yeah, he went definitely crazy there for sure. But we do have our winners on the line to ask them a few questions. So I believe we are joined by Lems from BDS. Bonsoir, you must be feeling great, you know, confirmed top 3. Congrats on that.
Thank you, thank you. Yes, I'm feeling great. The team is feeling good. And we're happy to qualify for the playoff because last stage we did not, so there is improvement.
You mentioned it yourself, but last stage didn't really go your way. This one does go your way. What's the main thing that changed?
I think it's the mentality of the team. And like when we lost to G2, it was the exact same defeat as last stage, like we lost 7-5. But I think this time we had like a week to prepare the next match and to figure it out what went wrong and see the Vods and stuff. And we realized that despite the work we put on before this stage, we did a lot of mistakes against G2. So the goal was to work on it. And we had a week, like I said, and now we are playing a bit better, I guess.
It's definitely looking better. I mean, let's do a little bit of theory crafting. Last year around, you know, you won Gamers 8 and then went to win the major after. Now this year, once again, you won Gamers 8. Do you feel like there's a potential to repeat that cycle with the major this time around?
I mean, there is always possibilities to do it. But first of all, it's to qualify for the major. The goal is... is to qualify, but the thing is like the best of 3s is I think the hardest thing, the hardest part. You need to prepare a lot of maps to be ready, and obviously the other teams want to qualify as well, so it will be a hard fight.
It'll definitely be difficult for sure. You said there were a few things you needed to fix after G2. Now with today's play day, are you happy with the way you played today?
I think we played kind of good. We had like a big Shaiko today on top of that. So obviously it helps a lot. Sorry, I won't lie. So yeah, we were prepared. We did the right things. MNM play good. It's always like a great match against them. They have insane players, insane team play as well. So we expected a close match. And but yeah, it was okay. It was okay.
Okay, all right. Anything you want to say to the fans?
Yeah, thank you to all the fans that are supporting us. Merci à vous les gars, merci beaucoup pour le soutien. On fait plein de bisous. Thanks to all the English speaking people as well. And thank you for the analysis days, the casting, and everyone involved in the Rainbow Six.
That's very sweet of you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Have a great evening, and we hope to speak to you again soon.
Yeah, see you guys. See you. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Very nice words once again. All these players today, they've just been so wholesome.
It's all the French players as well that thank the analyst desk. They're a lot nicer than Reddit are.
Is it maybe because they don't understand us? No, I think
maybe, yeah. They don't know what they're saying.
They're watching the French broadcast. And they're thinking the French guys. They don't care about us.
But back to the positives. You know, we talked about MNM, they're lacking a few things. BDS, though, they were great today. You know, they've had their struggles at the beginning of the stage. They mentioned it. G2 didn't go the way they wanted to. They fixed some things, and they're looking really good right now.
Wasn't only small mistakes, though. It was also the ban phases, I said. And I've said it so many times. I think I've repeated it every single time BDS had played a game, actually. I think that they went onto the wrong map. Had they gone to another map, I think that they would have stood a much better chance. Yeah. So it's small things. They've now sorted it. And this is the team you and me expected coming into this stage. We're seeing them actually perform now, and they're actually doing the job we expected.
And that's the bit that we didn't quite know after that G2 game, because they did start so slow. Like you said, they was on Oregon attack, but they started so slow. And I think that's one of the big things is how was they mounted a bit of a comeback, but how were they going to react? Yeah. They took that week away. They've come out, demolished Heroic, pretty much, you know, done very well against MNM, 6 points out of 6, made into the next phase of playoffs, which we always said in Group B was going to be the hardest task. They get a chance to play head-to-head going up against Wolves next week for the first place. And, you know, for BDS, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
It definitely is pretty good. Let's look how things